Okay.
A lot of them. It was cool.
Okay. Good. So you have a new hair color again, like in the movie where you looked like Elvis.
Yeah, this is my Elvis, my crew cut. But this is from a film I just completed in San Francisco called Little City, and it was Annabella Sciorra and Penelope Ann Miller, Joe Beth Williams. Um, it was a great ensemble cast.
So this is now the second film after finishing The Leading Man. So you seem to become a leading man.
Yeah, well, at least I'm a working actor, you know. And I don't know what else I am, but at least I'm working, you know, and it's going well.
Great. And I know that you kept it a secret for like 3 years that you were taking acting lessons.
Yeah, I didn't tell anyone, probably for a number of reasons, but mostly because I didn't know if I would want to pursue it, and especially to the level I'm now pursuing it. And at first I was doing it really for ideas to write songs. And the idea came to me on the set of Young Guns when I wrote the music. I got a whole album's worth of material out of a script. Um, and I started to read other scripts with the idea that it would be songwriting, and then I went to lessons with the idea that it would help me come out of my shell, perhaps, because I can perform in front of a stadium full of people didn't mean that I could go to a party and converse about anything other than what life on the road and making records was about. So this was just another facet to the arts that I was going to try to accomplish. Um, so one thing led to another for me.
Does the thrill wear off being an actor?
Absolutely not. It's such a challenge every day, and I'm such a fan of movies. Someone asked me, well, what was it? And I realized that wherever I've been in the world, they don't have to speak English, they don't have to be in this time zone, they could be anywhere in the world. You could see American, or at least English-speaking movies. And one thing I do always on the road is I go and see movies. Um, so for me, it's such a challenge and such a great reward to go out there and take on a character. I look forward to it.
So you love a challenge.
Yes.
So what's going to be the next one?
Well, one day at a time with this, you know. I mean, this is going well. I'm in the process of recording a solo album, and so I have two things that are going at the same time, and they're both very productive, and so that's about as much as any plate can handle right now.
What drives you?
My house payments. No. Only kidding. I think that the idea of waking up and having a challenge, you know, getting up and wanting to go and fight for something. And for me, you know, the music has been a constant challenge every day, every album. And this is a new one. And the idea of a new one, you know, really gets me going.
So one could say that you're the most successful rock and roll musician in front of the camera.
Frank Sinatra, pretty good one.
Not
Pretty good one. Academy
here to
Award
Atlanta.
winning. Academy Award winning. Not even from New Jersey, if you think about it. So Frank is from Jersey. No, I wouldn't think I was the most successful musician to cross over, but it is going well.
Are you a worrier?
Yeah, I worry to death. Um, I think that I worry to the extent that anyone who's a perfectionist worries. You know, with every song you write, with every album you write, you wonder if you're ever going to be able to do it again. With every film role that you pursue, and if you're lucky enough to get, can I deliver for the director or the producers, you know, so that they don't feel that they've made the wrong choice? Yeah, I worry about it.
Would you ever have done such a Faustian thing like sell your body and soul for fame?
I did. A long time ago. Yeah, I sold my soul.
Are you happy about it?
I have no complaints. You know, my life's not bad at all.
Mm. Were you seeing Lady Diana when you were in London?
Okay, it's once. No. No, I never saw Lady Di when I was in London.
How different is it performing to the camera than in a stadium?
I looked at every take and every scene in each movie as a performance, and so to me they were very much the same in that. Every time you did a take, let alone a scene, it was, with the other actors, an honest-to-God live performance, regardless that it was captured on film. And every night that I go out there on stage, it's as live as you can get. You know, there's nothing to hide behind. Um, you have to go out there and either put up or shut up.
Mm, I've read that you sacrificed your teenage years for a record contract, and you lived with your mama until you were 20. Is that right?
Yeah, sure. Maybe even longer than that. Probably till I was about 23. None of us had any money. You know, we had a couple albums, but you don't make any money.
How could you have girlfriends when you were living with your mother?
I got caught a few times. That's really embarrassing.
You said once that you were pursued by older women, friends of your mom. Is that right? That they
I've
still...
had incidents in my life that we don't bring up anymore, but yeah, I guess so.
But essentially, your story is like a real wonderful story that you married your high school sweetheart. And could you talk about your children or something?
I have two kids. My daughter Stephanie's 3.5 now. My son Jesse is 1.5, and I have my wife Dorothy, of course. And you know, we live in New Jersey, and your average everyday family.
Great. And could you identify with your role in the movie?
Yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, this guy was quite an intense character, Robin Grange. He was a chameleon, and he really had to give a lot of people what they wanted. And sometimes, you know, I find myself relating to that. There's other things that he did that I didn't relate to, you know, where he was a little more cold and calculating, or didn't mind living alone and being so driven, you know, to the point of almost self-destructing, you know, and that's why he had to go to London in the first place. But he was redeeming in the end, and he did come full circle.
Do you think that he really loved the wife then?
Yeah, he did, because if you think about it, you know, and I did talk to John Digan about it. I says, you know, Robin Grange would have left there in London and went back to Hollywood and been dating Michelle Pfeiffer by now, you know, and he says, no, he wouldn't. He said, this is you're wrong. This is actually where he realized that he's going to let somebody in. And as we thought about it and talked about it, I agreed with him. And I think that's true. That's what softened Robin, and he did let somebody into love. Most of this guy would have just been a cold, calculating, Hollywood-driven mogul, you know, and he's not living life at all.
What was the most difficult part of that film for you to play? Scene?
When we were on stage in front of a live audience performing the play, the only play I'd ever done in my life was a bit part in a high school play. And I'd never done anything like that before or after. Here we were yelling, you know, to get the dialogue across and to try to act and have the nuances of conversation at the top of your lungs. Very difficult for me.
But I thought you were wonderful. And what do you want most? Respect, love?
I think love is more important than anything else. Health is probably the most important thing. If the people I love have their health, I've won.
What makes you most proud of your accomplishment? Being a great songwriter, a great actor.
My kids, my wife and my kids are more important than all that stuff.
Do you think you would have been happy if you wouldn't have been famous and successful?
Yeah, I could have been very happy. You know, having worked a bunch of jobs as a kid, you know, before I started making records, I never dreamt that I would be where I am, that's for sure. I mean, the guys I looked up to made records and never even had a gold record, let alone, you know, all this enormous success that we've had. So that was the top rung of the ladder. But yeah, I think I could have been very happy, you know, having the family I have and the friends I have without the success. I'm not an applause junkie. That's not what gets me doing it in the morning.
What was the Joe Esterhaus movie that you did?
I haven't done it. It's called Original Sin, and it seems to be having its setbacks because the director was let go. Um, they went through the process of hiring and then firing a second director, and right now it's up in the air, and it's nothing to do with myself or Gina Gershon, who still both want to do the film, but it was more the technical aspects of it.
What are your next plans film-wise?
I have a small part in an upcoming film called Homegrown with some very talented actors, and Hank Azaria, and who was in Birdcage, and a guy named Billy Bob Thornton, who the critics are just drooling over, and rightfully so, that I'm going to do in December. And then we're developing a couple of things for next year.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Have you bought some books that you like for developing for you, or do you have script writers who are doing things for you?
No, but my manager found something, a script that we're all knocked out about, so we're going to work on ASAP.
And who would be the woman you would most want to work with?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there's so many talented actresses out there. If you think about the Meryl Streeps or the Barbara Streisands, and I don't know. I haven't given it much thought.
And is it true that Robert De Niro is a fan and asked you to test for Heat?
I think that's probably been all blown out of proportion at this point, but I did audition for and was called back several times for the role in Heat when there was no Val Kilmer connected to the project. And I read the same article that everyone else has read in the magazine that said that he really liked what he saw, but I've never met him. I know nothing. I'd be honored to get him coffee. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.